Welcome, everybody, to the Success Elevated podcast. As always, I am your host, Hayden Lee, and I am joined this week by a very special returning guest, which is very cool. And especially, it's even more cool because the last time we had you on, you were on a little screen, and now
I did it on a cell phone. What was I thinking?
You get to be here in the office. Eric Clark, CEO and founder of Inventory Shield, as well as many other businesses, which we will probably mention those as well. Eric, thanks for coming on the podcast today.
Yeah. No, it's my pleasure. Thanks for having me in person. This place is amazing. I don't know if anybody out there has seen this online, the development of your office, but I knew I was coming through town, and I didn't want to not stop and say hello in real life.
Yeah.
I'm so glad I did. This place is incredible.
Katie
gave me the tour, and I'm really blown away.
Even
the putting green.
Even the putting green in Michael's office.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate it. This has been, I feel like, the cool thing about having a really awesome dedicated space like this is it just helps elevate our team, helps us believe in big things. Like, we believe we can accomplish big things, and in turn helps our clients. Like, we believe we can accomplish big things for our clients because of the cool place that we get to work in. So
absolutely. And
it's awesome. Yeah, I love it.
What you said, when I look around, I can see that it shows. Yeah. So that's cool.
Well, we had you on. It's been probably a couple of months ago now, before the holidays and all the craziness of the last little while. But we talked a lot about Inventory Shield and kind of how you started and what Inventory Shield consists of and all these things. We had the opportunity to have you in the office today, and I feel like there's so many different paths we could go down. But one of the cool things that I've had the opportunity to interact with through your business, and obviously we're building a website for you guys right now and helping you with some marketing stuff. I've had the opportunity to interact with some of your kids, and I think it's really, really cool because a lot of our clients are also family-owned businesses. Is you have a family-owned business, and you operate your business with your family. And I would love to maybe kind of start there. Why is that something that you're passionate about? Why did you decide to get your kids involved with Inventory Shield as well as your other businesses? Is it something that you've always wanted to do, or did it just kind of happen naturally, or what kind of went through all that?
First off, I'm probably like every other business owner that might watch this. They start their businesses, their kids are in the back seat. They're like, phone's ringing, and the kids are like, hello, this is how can I help you?
Yeah.
That's how I started too. And so naturally your children, they understand the depth. They understand where you came from.
Right.
They've seen the struggles. They've, in our house, we used to mix powdered milk because we'd buy 1 gallon of milk, make it into 4 gallons. That's how we started our business. We didn't have anything.
Right.
Like I told you on one of the last podcasts, I started with a $900 loan from my mom. So the children, I didn't realize it at the time, but we were raising really good, strong employees.
Yeah.
And I almost feel like I'm saying like slaves. They're not. They're paid. But at the same time, they understand where we came from.
Yeah.
Then they understand how much the value of a customer is to a business because they've heard us treat them kindly and patiently over the years. So it's a real natural fit. When they become of age, all of a sudden you're like, dang, my oldest daughter would be great at this job. And we have other wonderful employees that they work well together. But I feel like I mentioned in one of the other podcasts that we were talking about, I really deeply believe that great people build great businesses.
Right.
And so if you want to build a great business, surround yourself with great people, and it comes naturally. You don't have to force it. It just happens. Well, you've put a lot of time and effort into your children, and you should trust them. So for me, it was a natural fit. It does make it a little difficult because there are times where you have to, I don't know, not get after them, but stuff has to happen, and it has to happen now.
Yeah.
And so we have had a little bit of moments in our lives of like, geez, Dad, go easy on me. And I'm like, well, yeah, but the customer needs that today. And so it is hard to work with families sometimes, but I've never shied away from it because I feel like we should be able to. And trust me, I've had my problems in business, but I've heard a lot of people say, "Oh, never work with family," and I don't buy into that anymore. I've done it. I've been both ways. I truly believe if you're just, if you work with them and are patient, loving, that it can work out, and it can work out wonderfully. And so, I have a few of my children that actually work. My son Kenner helps. He runs out in Cleveland. We've got an office not nearly as nice as this, but where we run printing machines to print those labels for all the equipment.
Yeah.
And he runs that show, and my 15-year-old's his sidekick, and she just gets paid by the hour, but she loves it.
Love it.
Anyway, so I've got a graphic designer in the family now, and there you go. So I've drugged that out too
much.
No. But that's where we're at.
Because I want to dive into this a little bit more, because we were talking before we started recording about like Stephanie's role and kind of how you built that role, and I think that's that's unique to your business. I think that's really cool I think that story piece would be really helpful, because you started talking about how she actually went to school to be a programmer. She was going to actually start helping code your app and do some things with that, right? But that her role has kind of shifted over the years. Talk a little bit about that.
And it's wonderful. So in our family, we love that our children go out and learn to serve people. So she went on a Mormon mission years ago into Louisiana. Comes home with like a real great love for people. But she said, "No, Dad, I want to develop with your app." And I'm like, "Great." So she goes to college to become a developer, and she's smarty pants. She's smart. Of course, I'm biased, but but she is. She caught it quick, and like so here she is in college doing this programming thing, and she's learning and she's adding. I'm looking at the development happening. I see my daughter's name putting out these PRs, and I'm thinking, "Wow, she's learning this." Well, then it just wasn't in her, and she started to feel that, and she's like, "While I do know how to do this, it's not me. I don't really want to be a programmer anymore." And so we were in need. We're kind of getting new clients, and we're thinking, we do need somebody between the development team and the customer side that can take and bring the two together in a good way. And Stephanie fit that role. So she knows how to speaks to the programmers and their, programmees, and then she can go to one of our clients and speak their language.
Yeah.
Because she was raised around this business. So she has a love for the apps. She has a love for the customers. She realizes their importance to us. And then she can turn to the developer. So it's actually been, I don't know, I'm grateful for it. I couldn't be, I feel bad that, I'm kind of riding her hard. Not hard, but I feel like we're keeping her busy.
Yeah.
But it's been a good experience. So with my children, I always tell them, you can leave at any time. If you need to go, if you feel like this isn't your job, you want to go work at Wendy's, go work at Wendy's, which she has done, by the way. She did leave for a little bit and came back.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's probably too much. But yeah, that's where we're at with her. So it's been a good fit. So, when people email, they're going to see Stephanie Clark.
Yeah.
And it's my oldest child, but she's professional. She gets the job done. There's no easy, there's no special treatment. But she's good. So
no, I love that. And I think, it's funny because even a software company like yourselves still has to care about the customers.
Absolutely.
And there still is a customer communication piece to it. And that's so relatable to just about every industry, but a lot of the industry that we serve, the restoration industry, yes, it's important that you have good systems and that you're good at, drying out drywall or doing the restoration work or the mitigation work. But really at the end of the day, you've got to be able to build customer relationships and have relationships with them. And I love that Stephanie's kind of filled that role and that she can kind of do some of the development work and talk with the customers as well, because I think it's hugely, hugely important. So I love that piece that even a software company has to be able to talk to people and people are one of the most important things. So I love it.
And it has to come across sincere. And that's where I feel like as a child hearing me talk in the back seat.
Yeah.
She definitely feels and knows the depth of these customers and the need that we have to have happy customers.
Yeah.
And they have to know that we actually care about them, not just to get their money. Like at the end of the day, we do this that they would want to pay us, but we actually care. Like we want this app to work for them.
Yeah.
It's not a joke to us. It's serious business. So that'll come through when these people are dealing with Stephanie. So I'm pretty confident. And
that's so cool.
A little bit biased, but all right.
A little bit biased. No, I think this conversation leads right into the second piece to having you into the office and why we wanted to really talk to you, I think, is we're obviously at the beginning of the year, beginning of 2024. We're 9 days into the year. I know you have some big goals, not just with Inventory Shield, but just your businesses in general. But I would love to hear from you a little bit about how you set the vision for your company, how you set goals for the year, what's important to you when it comes to goals. I would love to kind of talk to you a little bit about this. We're all feeling it, the New Year's resolutions and bettering ourselves and bettering our businesses. But talk a little bit about what you guys have done for Inventory Shield, or what your hope is for 2024.
Yeah, so, boy, you are spot on with this, because we've just been having these conversations. One of the most recent conversations we had before I went on a little road trip, I realized years ago, I used to go in and think, we need to make X amount of dollars this year. We need to up by so much. We need to do this. It was money driven. And while at the end of the day, we all have to make a living, I realized if you walk in talking about money, you're going to probably miss the mark.
Right.
And so my hope these days, especially in the application world, there's a lot of apps out there now, and it's picking up steam quick, and for good reason. There's a lot of gaps that need to be filled, and a lot of people are filling it. But I feel like we walk in and we talk more about how can we serve people better, that they would want to be with us. We don't have contracts with our apps. With Referral Reactor Inventory Shield, you can sign up for a week, a month. You can do what you want. Because we really want to just provide an excellent app with great service, great features. And so what are we working on now? Our goals this year, we've just released a lot of features recently. And I talked last time about our supplies features. That was hard to figure out.
Yeah.
It really was. So our goal now is to let our current clients know, hey, it exists. This is, we're getting the word out. Doing demos to help them see how it works. But really our hope is to figure out what their needs are and fill more of them this year. We aren't extremely profitable. We don't make piles of money yet, but we've done pretty well. We're still spending on development. And so when you ask our goals are how can we fill their needs better than they're doing right now, but mostly, what are their needs and how can we fill it? And what do we have right now that might already fill it? And so we're realizing we actually have quite a bit that's built into the app they just don't know about. Yeah. So our goal this year is obviously more clients. We want people signing up for the app, but we don't go in thinking, I might have said to you guys, we want X amount of 100 new clients this year. But that's not how we talk in our meetings. I just was trying to give you guys an idea of what we would love.
No, I love it.
But really in our meetings, we're talking features, we're talking service, we're talking the needs of the clients that we hear just in chatter. We'll talk to them about something else and we hear a need and we think, and we're a restoration company at the end of the day. Like, this is my background. So, but because we have so many different industries using our apps, we're finding that we just need to just really listen to their needs. And that's our goal.
That's so cool.
So I couldn't quantify it necessarily. I mean, I could if you wanted me to. I could go look at some of the actual goals, but we have some features we want to get released, and we're just trying to serve their needs.
Yeah.
And in return, they pay us, and we're grateful for it.
Well, and it speaks to your to who you are, Eric. I think more so than anything else. I think, again, going back to the conversation we had about your kids working with you and what's important to you when it comes to that. But like, at the end of the day, it's people, and you're trying to, how do we better help our customers? How do we better help our people? It's not necessarily tied to a revenue goal. The revenue will come. It will. The increases and the growth of business will come as you do those things. But like, the focus at the end of the day is people. When we talk about our vision here at Spot On Solutions, it's very much geared around the people, both internally and externally. Like, our vision here at Spot On Solutions is we are driven to elevate people and businesses. And that vision is not tied to a revenue goal. It's not even necessarily tied to a specific service that we offer, right? It's tied to what are we trying to do? And those people can be internally, it can be Hayden here at Spot On Solutions, it can also be Hayden's clients, right? Like, it can be both of those things. And that's what's so cool about, I think, aligning you and your team with a bigger picture, a vision. I've always been a big picture guy, but that's what can be so cool about it, is it can motivate you to be better. You're not necessarily concerned with, did we make $1 today? You're concerned with, did we help somebody today?
Yeah. And you'll always hit the mark if you do that.
Yeah.
And in fact, speaking to what you said, so I know I met Katie a number of years ago, right when we were first launching. Like, this is like 2019. I remember I was on a Zoom call with Katie telling her about Inventory Shield. And at that time, I had just briefly heard about your guys' company. And over the years, I've come to see your growth, but also like get to know you as real people. Yeah. Which is precisely why I'm your client too. Yeah. Yeah. Because what you just said is exactly my experience here. Like, I really feel like in this industry, you guys are, to me, you're the top company. I know there's probably some wonderful family-run companies out there that are doing a great job, but like, I love the service I get here. I love what you guys have done for my businesses. Well, appreciate the marketing, the help, but just the genuine, like, real caring. Yeah. So what you're saying is exactly my experience. So kudos to you guys.
Well, I appreciate it, because that's honestly what we are concerned with. Yeah. Especially, Katie and Michael and, with our leadership and management team might have other conversations about revenue goals and efficiency and all of those things.
And they have to be there.
But when it's an all hands meeting and we're sitting down with the entire company, the conversation is not dollars. The conversation is people, and how do we help our people, both internally. We've 2023 was really big for our team internally as far as the trainings that we got. We talked a lot about emotional intelligence and leadership, and tried to really help our team become better. But then it's also about our clients, and we have conversations of, how can we make our services better? How do we make our websites better? How do we make the Google ads more efficient, right? Like, those kind of conversations are all, at the end of the day, are all geared, how do we help our people? Yeah. And both internally and externally.
I'll tell you what, just from my gandering about your office today, like, that basement, like, if you want to serve employees and tell them you care about them, you build a basement like yours here. Yeah. If you want to serve, your employees, like the office over here that has a putting green. I mean, that says like we care about you.
We care about you.
There's some pretty cool stuff here. So I think you're right, and that's a good business. And so I'm even more impressed as I've come here.
Oh, well, we appreciate it.
So well done, brother.
We didn't have you onto this podcast so that you can talk about how awesome we are.
Okay,
but we really appreciate it.
Here we are on it. So it's all good.
No, the real thing that I think at the end of the day that I think what is so cool about Inventory Shield is the concern with customers, obviously, which we've mentioned multiple times. But I think you have found a unique solution to a problem that everybody has. It's a problem that not just the restoration industry, but just about every client that we have that is in some kind of home service type industry has frustration with. They can't keep track of their equipment. They can't find their tools, right? And I love that you guys do that and have really solved that niche. And you've talked about a lot about the features that you've got coming out this year with regards to supplies and all of those things. What have you done, and this is probably a little bit of a tangent, but what have you done to really have those conversations with clients to figure out what you can offer? Is it just a matter of a phone call and be like, hey, what do you wish our app did? Like, is it just simple as that, having conversations like that? But how have you built a better app? And how have you found solutions for your clients' problems? Has it been just in those conversations, or how does that work?
You'd be surprised. So oddly enough, we get, obviously every app's going to get emails and feedback, which we love it. But we do, the best part is I feel like this is the Stephanie where, Pat and her, she's developed some good relationships where they feel like they can like message her and say, this is a real problem we have. And then you start to hear the same chatter over and over and you think, okay, we've got to fill this need. And supplies was one of those.
Right.
And so actually that came originally from a roofing company. In fact, you guys probably see them, CMR Roofing.
Yeah.
A large roofing, a wonderful company. Anyways, they're the ones that originally brought it to us. Then we had an HVAC company in Arizona that had the same need. And so obviously we're making phone calls and seeing what their real needs are. And, our head was spinning on how to even solve that problem. But here's the cool thing about supplies. My wife, she's tracking our groceries. Like it was funny because, she's like, here I'm buying Thanksgiving food and I've got 75 cans of the same stuff I didn't realize I had way under. So now she's tracked it all through our supplies in our app. So
that's amazing.
We use an Inventory Shield in my own house. I thought it was cool that she took it upon herself to figure out how to track food in the kitchen, but it works flawlessly for that. Anyway, so in answering your question, it does. It starts usually with an email or like something in passing, but they don't realize that we've heard that passing 7 times from other companies.
Right.
So to us, we really just try to listen to the customer and try to hone in on what they need. And so far, I think back to where Inventory Shield first started. It literally just had like QR code, here's the piece of equipment, and that's where we are today. I even think some of our current customers, that's why we're like trying to get the information. I don't think they realize all that the app has.
They don't know, No.
It's shocking what we've built into it. So it's pretty amazing, and people are learning to love it. But like I said, we've got a university that's using it now. In Florida, they've got a number of campuses using it. We never thought that they would be using it for AV equipment, like this kind of stuff. These cameras in here, they're using it for all their stuff. So we're finding it helpful. But how do we do it? We mostly just start with an email or a call or a quick message, and then we just let it go from there, and it becomes something great. So
that's perfect because, again, going back to, I think the majority of our audience is in the home service industry. That's something that I think a lot of the home service industry could do a better job of doing, right? Like at the end of the day, like you're in the business of customer service. A lot of people probably don't realize that. They think they're in restoration or mitigation, but at the end of the day, it's customer service, right? And if you can take that feedback in a positive way and work with your clients and your customers and figure out, okay, what can we do to improve our processes? Maybe it's not necessarily improving an app, but it's improving a process, right? Or how do we communicate better? What can we do those things? And at the end of the day, if you can solve those customer problems, it's going to be a huge difference. We talk about it all the time here on our team that the 2 biggest reasons that clients stay with us is, one, because of performance. Obviously, their marketing dollars are working for them. But at the end of the day, a lot of it is communication because they feel like we've built a relationship with them, because they feel like they can ask us questions and they're going to get answers. Like those are the 2 reasons customers work with you or that stay with you. And I think that's the same across the board with any business. And you guys are doing a good job of that with talking to clients and getting feedback. But you're also like building a good product too. So it's a little bit of both. So I think that's a good tip for anybody out there that's listening is not only do you have to perform well, like you've got to obviously have a good product or a good service, you've got to work on the customer communication side thing as well.
That's awesome. Thanks, brother.
Yeah, well, I have one last question for you,
on.
Eric, because I don't want to hold you hostage for too much longer.
This is good.
But it kind of goes back to the conversation about your vision and your goals for 2024. I feel like we could kind of sum it all up with one question. If you could fast forward to the end of 2024, and you're having your New Year's Eve party with your family or your business or whoever, right? You're having your annual Christmas party with your team, and you could look back and say, man, we were successful because we did this year. What would that thing be? If you could sum it all up, if you could sum up 2024 in a successful year, what would you just define success in 2024 as?
Yeah, boy, that is a wonderful question. I think last year, when you're making so much growth and additions to an app, it's tough to do it without getting a few bugs.
Yeah.
So our focus for 24 is truly customer satisfaction.
Love it.
So not because we didn't lose clients, but we had a little too many bugs pop up here and there. We'd release something, 2 days later, all the Android phones would be having a struggle. Or 2 days later, the Apple phones were having a struggle. And it was too much. So we built a new testing features, and like our hope is just that our clients have a year free of headache. Yeah, like the headache, yeah. Like it really does solve the problems, and they're not getting little bugs. So customer satisfaction to us this year, even more so than adding new clients, is what I care about most.
Yeah.
But I feel like, obviously, at the end of the day, we're trying to build the families that work with us as well. And so we always want to make sure that they're well taken care of and that their families are progressing. To me, there's nothing better than hearing that one of our employees is buying a new house.
Yeah.
Like, to me, that's how I define it. Really.
Yeah.
I don't really care about cars, but they're fun to have. But I love to see one of my employees drive a new car.
Yeah.
And so, again, we're talking dollars and cents there. But, I mean, really, customer satisfaction, employee satisfaction, that's where it's at for us this year. I felt a little bad with some of the releases we did last year. Introduced, and they're gone. The bugs are gone. They're all worked through. But there's a little more headache than I wanted people to have. So, if I'm being honest.
That's the goal. That's the goal.
There you go.
And I'm sure we will have you on again later this year, and we'll hold you to that. We'll check in with you. We'll check in with Inventory Shield and have conversations. But that's an awesome goal. And at the end of the day, it's like we've talked multiple times in our short time here today, but it's not tied to a dollar amount. It's not tied to how much business growth did we increase by 50%? You're focused with how can we help our customers have a good experience. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Really one last thing, people are going to do business with people they know, like, and trust.
Yeah.
And we found the more people know, like, and trust our app, it spreads. I mean, we've got employees leaving companies, going to other companies, and they're bringing the app with them, and they're saying, we've got to use this app here. Yeah. This is how you guys should track your equipment or your supplies. So it's almost like it does the marketing for us. So if we can make something that people know, like, and trust, it's going to spread for us. And it's done pretty well. So anyways.
That's awesome.
I sure appreciate you, Hayden. You guys have been awesome to work with.
Eric, thanks for coming on the podcast. Yeah. We kind of we ambushed you a little bit with the podcast.
Oh, no, but it's good. I know. I'm like, I just got done exercising in the hotel this morning. I'm like,
stop it.
It's frigid here.
It's a little cold.
A flannel on. I'm like, well, we'll do a podcast. So anyway, forgive the downside of my dressing up. I would have, but it's all good.
I appreciate it. We love having you on. For those people that are interested in learning more about Inventory Shield, we'll have their website linked in the description below. We're going to be talking a lot about Inventory Shield, I'm sure, in 2024. Yeah. So excited to have you on the podcast, and we'll have you on again in the future.
Thank you, brother.
Thanks, Eric.
Thanks so much.
This has been Success Elevated, making you a little bit better one show at a time. Thanks for joining us. Please subscribe on YouTube or any other major podcast platform to listen to more episodes. We are proudly brought to you by Spot On Solutions. If you'd like to learn more about how we can help you grow your business, please check us out at spotonsolutions.com.